So then guys, just finished everything. I've just been having a little look-see at the setup for these tiles. This is the tile that we're going to be using. It's like a grey marble effect tile. And this is a 6mm thick Italian tile. They're 1200 by 1200 in size. And this is obviously 2 tiles. They're just putting it up together at the minute purely for my measuring purposes. We will be putting a 3mm grout joint in these as specified by the builder. So this is where we decided this morning we were going to start. I've just had to set my laser up just to make sure I'm happy with that. So what we're actually going to do today is just do some dry cutting, ready for the following day where we're going to be then commencing all the sticking. So how I've done all of that, we made a bit of a mark this morning. So I've set my laser up now. I like to use my Dewalt green laser. Personally, I think it's the best on the market for this kind of thing. And it gives me a perfectly straight line, and with the green beam, I can see it everywhere. I've tracked that through to here, which has met my mark over there. If you see down here, my green beam is tracking along the edge of this tile. I lay my level down so I can see the edge of that tile. Follow me this way. You can see down here my green beam. Now here, we've got 18.5mm skirting. By the time that's got some stick on the back of it and it's nailed in, we're going to be at around 20. I'm currently sitting at 18mm. So when the skirting comes on that, it's actually going to be right on the edge of my tile, so it's going to look perfect as it comes around, as long as I stick to that green beam. So that is why we've done this, and we can see we're all right on the arc here. So when the tile comes in, it's just going to brush underneath this door frame, which is exactly what we're after. We've decided to go full tile off the doors, which is centre of the doors, which is then centre of this space here. We're going to do a bit of cutting now, and you can see how we go about some of these grinds. This is the first one I'm going to be doing here, but once I've done that one and the one next to it, I can make sure I'm straight, because we've got a bit more of a tricky cut going into these doorways. I want to make sure I'm absolutely bang on straight with that. So the easiest way for me to do that is if I can get these 2 dry set with these 2 full tiles and I can be happy with it, then I can then tackle these ones, because I'll have all my lines to go off. It's all marked up, it's ready to go, it's got to get it outside and get it cut. So then guys, we've done all the cutting, we've just started doing a little bit of sticking. I've stuck the utility room as is at the moment. That's all now done. Through here, we like to set the door frame slightly higher than the tiles. Good in this case, because we've got a 6mm tile rather than a 12 as normal. So that will get dropped down on top of me and that'll look perfect when all that's finished and it's all dried off. So we've laid this little bit here. We're using a 12mm notch trowel. We're using a white adhesive by Britflex. I like to use a slow set on this stuff because I like to just give it time for it just to go off a wee bit. And we make the mix a little bit wetter, the consistency of my mix. Just that little bit looser. Some tiles I'll have it a little bit stiffer, and there'll be people saying I do it too wet, but there is a reason behind that. The reason is, so I'm using a 12mm, I'm troweling the floor out, which I'll show you again in a minute. And then I'm also using, which Alex is doing, using a 3mm trowel on the back of the tiles. So we're back buttering the tiles with 3mm, using the 12 on the floor. Once I've got it in, I'm then using my battle tile from Montalet, my trusty battle tile you've seen in previous videos. It's my vibrating pad. So that just helps me to try and get full contact on the tiles. So the reason, again, why I do it wetter is when I put the 2 adhesives touch each other, it's easier for those 2 to compress, and I can break all those notches down and I can force all the air out with this. And then I do the old traditional way of doing it. You have a little walk over the top of them. The beauty of the clips is I can walk over the top of them and the edges won't move. So once I've vibrated it in, I'll just lightly walk over it, make sure I'm happy, then I move on to the next one. Everything that I do has a meaning, so that's why I like to do that. Clips that we're using are slightly different this time. This is a small clip, so they have the small, the medium, the large. The ones you normally see me use are the mediums. I think they go from 9mm to 12mm tile. These ones go from a 6mm, which we're using today, up to a 9mm tile. So they're just a slightly smaller clip you may or may not notice. But they're the ones that I'm using for these tiles, because the tiles are 6mm. Using my suction cups as usual, trusty sponge. I like to clean all my adhesive out as I go along, so when you come to grout, you haven't got loads of chopping out and messing around to do. You just do it as you're going along. I'm using 3mm spacers on this. Myself and Tony had a little chat about that, and we decided to go for 3mm. That is actually what TTA guidelines are stating now, and because of the thickness of the tile, and because there's underfloor heating, I know we've matted it. Better safe than sorry. Use a little bit of a wider grout joint on this one. We know everything's going to be completely and utterly fine. So that's where we're at the minute. I'm now going to stick a few more down, but I'll do this little tricky little baby around here that we did a hole for yesterday. One thing I see a lot of people do that I don't agree with, they don't put a lot of adhesive down. Get a load down, and then I'll show you what I mean in a minute. But this is what I like to do. So get plenty down, again using my 12mm trowel. My floor's really good. It's all been pumped in, so I know I can trust my floor, but still, I like to just get a load of adhesive underneath here. Don't scrimp on it like some people do. Really get it in there, get it around everything. You know, if a kitchen foot lands anywhere near here, I want to make sure I've got plenty of adhesive so it doesn't crack, because if it does crack through this, it could transfer all the way through, and you will see it when the kitchen's in. So it's just little things. I just like to make sure I tick all the boxes, really. So make sure I get plenty in here, like this. It's a pain to get your trowel in now and again. So no excuse really not to get any in there. You've seen me in previous videos, I do try and keep my trowel marks going the same way. It's not ultra critical, but especially if you go through using a battle tile, you're walking on it, you back butter in, it's not major critical, but some people, they'll sort of trowel and they don't get enough gear in, and then they'll start like the amount I've just took off there that I just had on a second ago. You know, this for me is just no good. You haven't got enough adhesive there compared to what I've done here. So that's what I'm on about, people not putting enough stuff in. Or they'll like lay their trowel a little bit flatter, so they're not really utilising the groove in the trowel itself, compared to over here where it's standing nice and tall and proud. That's a lot lower. So it's the first thing I teach people when they do come and tile with me. It's all about the angle of your trowel, really. So, you know, you want to be about 45 degrees, and it gives you that beautiful consistency. And it's so easy, really. No excuses. So again, little thing there. Cut my edges out, I think I've gone about that before. Stops all the adhesive coming apart on my joints all over the place, less cleaning. Plenty of clips also when we're doing stuff like this. Minimum I'll be using on a long length is 5, really. When I've got a full width of a tile, is going to be 5 clips. You will see some areas with 4 and 3, but they're shorter areas. I'm putting 4 on this purely because I've got a potential place where this is going to snap is going to be here, and a potential place it's going to snap is here. Obviously I don't want that. So if I try and put too much tension, just have one here and one over here, but too much tension underneath this one, it could want to snap. So I just want to make sure I take that pressure off, divide it across 2 spots, and then we should be good. There we go. Because I pre-cut everything yesterday, I know it would fit. It's just making sure, get it in exactly the right spot. And you see all this lovely adhesive here starting to come out. That's great, because I know that's going to be full coverage behind there. Give it a little rock. You don't want to press too hard, so with this left hand here, if you just press, it might want to snap. What I do, just give it a little rock, tiny little bit of pressure. And you just see that adhesive starting to ooze out a little bit more. That's great, that is. Give it a little tap, couple of spacers, really get that up there. That's where we want it. And always like to try and clip against something as well. So I'm clipping against that tile because that tile's nice and solid. When I first put that one in, I had this one in here, so I could clip against it really nice and solid. If you try and do this way, you're just encouraging the tile to slide this way. So just don't go doing that. Try and keep everything tight against everything else. take the suction cups off. Battle tile. Again, you've seen this one before. To be fair, a lot of this is oozed out already. This just helps try and force the air out, sort of where it's creeping. So it's going to get a bit loud, but you'll get to see hopefully what it does. So all that adhesive you saw oozing out there, that's great. When I do that across this tile, that's what we'll be doing underneath the tile. It will be spreading underneath. Again, it has the suction, like I spoke about before. That's solid on there now. When you press that now, it will just vibrate in this one specific area. Do that again here. And that's it, job done. Just got to give it a little tap, just because I've been vibrating. It's just move the tile a little bit. Make stuff look pretty where we can. Job done. That's how you do that. So then guys, back of the extension build project. We've kicked all the clips out. You see there's nothing left on the floor. We've just given all of our joints a quick scrape, given it a final sweep and hoover. Always advise you do that, get all your dust off. You can send your grout a bit of a dodgy old colour if you get anything in there, any bits of mud, bits of grit, gravel, it's no good. So we've done our mix. Client's gone for silver grey on this one. I really agree with this. That's going to look great, that is, against there. It's going to pick out these veins and this, like, the body of the tile, this sort of colour here. I think that's going to go real great. So we'll just dry a little bit lighter than that is at the moment, so that's going to look ace. So this mix, I like to have it not too wet, but not too stiff, right in the middle. So it shouldn't drop off the paddle. That's kind of what I'm going for. This stuff's made by Britflex. Again, we try when we can to try and keep everything together, and we've already used their adhesive, so we'll be using the grouts here as well. So I'm just going to make a start on this grout and you can see how the process goes. So then guys, we've left you for about half an hour, 20 minutes. It's just to let the grout go a little bit harder in the joints. You don't want it too soft, otherwise when you run over it with your sponge, it's just going to pull out. But again, if you don't want it to go off too much, especially in the summer, you've got to keep an eye on that and keep testing it with your finger. When it feels like it's just a little bit spongy, then go for it and take it out. Leave it too long, obviously you're going to be chasing your tail, and when you get towards the end, it's going to be rock hard and you're going to be spitting feathers trying to get it out. It's going to be a nightmare. This is about bang on now. With these big tiles, I don't use my massive wash boy because they're highly polished. If I use my massive sponge, it actually leaves quite a lot of water on the tiles. So the smaller sponge, I can control that, get it off. It's going to be beautiful. I can keep the grout right at the top of the joint. Because it's quite cold in here, I'm going to wait until tomorrow then to give it its final polish off, and it will look beautiful. So then guys, that's the grouting process done. Hope you agree, it all looks really, really nice. This colour goes amazing with this tile. Just got to let this dry now for 24 hours. The final process for this will be the lads just giving it a quick polish off before it gets mist coated by the decorators and the kitchen gets fitted. So I hope you like watching this. Be sure to check me out on Instagram at GN_Tiling Limited. And as usual, like, comment and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Got any questions at all, leave some comments, I'll try and get back to as many of you as I can. Thanks for watching, cheers.
Oh,